Today, we are back in Hardcore Minecraft, where we will be setting up an efficient way to get emeralds in our world. That way, of course, is farmer villagers. But in order to get a good amount of farmer villagers, we will first need to set up a farming village. Now, we're starting today's episode in the end. And you may be wondering, why are we starting today's episode in the end? Well, the answer to that is I have done some work off camera. And so now we have an Enderman farm. So we can get levels very easily now, which is great because now we have pretty much fully enchanted tools and armor, except for a few enchantments we are going to need to get from librarian villagers in the future. Now that we're back home, it is time to get straight to business. So as the intro of the video suggests, we are making a farmer village today because we need emeralds. Yes, I was struggling a lot to get emeralds, and farmer villagers are a great way to get emeralds. Because I have these guys in here, but they're not too great. We need way more, as well as we need fields, because that little wheat field right there is not gonna cut it for emeralds. So looking at the map, I'm thinking maybe over here next to this village, and then we can just take the villagers from this village and put it over into this village. So here is the village, and then right over here looks like the area that we're going to be building at. It is definitely rough terrain-wise, so we're going to have to fix this up a bit, but it looks like a perfect place for a farmer village. So of course, the first step in building up this village is to fix up the terrain. The area has been terraformed, and I have laid out the buildings of this area. So the cobblestone buildings are going to be some windmills, since this is going to be a farmer village. I figured windmills will be the best option for buildings. So we have some circular ones, we have some square ones, we have one kind of like the one we did at the cleric village with a house and then a windmill connected to it. And at the diorite area, we have a market stall area, so the villagers can sell their crops to one another over here. This is going to be a big village, as I want to get a good amount of farmer villagers in here so we can trade our crops with them to get emeralds. So that is why it is a big area, and we're going to fill all this area up with crops and just plant stuff to make this area come to life. So this building right here is on a different level than the other village. I didn't want the village to be all on one level, so this one is going to be, so this building is all by itself because I figured in the cleric village we had the enchanting tower, which was basically like the main like centerpiece of the village. So this windmill building right here is going to be the kind of centerpiece of the farmer village. So in order for us to build up this village, we need to get blocks for it. So for this village, I think I want to go in with some new and different blocks that we haven't used yet. I want to go in with some cobbled deep slate, but we don't have any apparently. So we're gonna have to collect some of that. I also want to use some stone because we have a silk touch pickaxe now, so getting stone is pretty easy. I also think we will add some mossy cobblestone as well, and we're also gonna do probably mossy stone bricks since we haven't used that before, but we don't have any, so we'll have to collect some vines. And then I think we will use some birch because we haven't used birch a whole lot, and maybe even some terracotta. So with all of these blocks picked out, it is time for us to go collect them. Materials have been collected, and I have went ahead and made it a bit easier for myself and laid out a block palette for each of the buildings. So we've got a good variety of different blocks to use for each of the buildings. So they're all different, but they will still look good together. So as you see with this one, we have birch for the roof, stripped oak logs, stone and stone brick. Since this windmill right here is going to basically be the centerpiece of the area, we are going to start off by building up this one. The first windmill has been built. It is a square windmill. It's kind of blocky, but I think it looks pretty nice with the windmill part on it. I haven't done the inside yet, but it's just this. It'll probably have some beds for the farmers because I think the windmills are gonna be where they live. But for the first one, I think it is definitely something. I definitely like how the roof is and just how the top part is different and it's not just stone like the bottom part. But I am sure once all the other windmills are done, it'll look cool having the different style windmills in here. But now we are going to just go and start building up the other windmills. For the windmill buildings, I wanted to make each one different with not only the block palette, but the way the buildings were as well. The blade part mainly stayed quite similar between all of the windmills, due to the fact I was struggling with how to build the blades, but I think it still looks good with the blades on the buildings. Most of the buildings' roofs were either oak planks or birch planks, but towards the last few buildings I wanted to do something different. So for instance, on this one, I used yellow terracotta for the roof instead, which I think is a nice addition to the area. I also started feeling like having all of the buildings as windmills was too repetitive, so I changed one of the buildings to a house instead, which adds a bit of variety in the village. After the buildings were all complete, I got started on the market area, which I used a very simple design of just having a little stall with red and white wool for the roof. Then I went in and started connecting the buildings together with path blocks. I felt like a path block path was kind of a farming villager vibe, which is why I went with that. And finally, I used stone bricks and stone brick walls to add a simple wall around the village to keep it contained and safe from mobs. The farmer village is complete. With all of the windmills in here, it looks so cool. Looks just like a village for some farmer villagers. We've got a wheat field right over here at the entrance with a composter over there so a farmer villager can get that job. And then we've got a carrot field over here and all the way around. I also added a well over here in case we ever need some water. And there's one over there as well. And then we have a potato field over here. I also built some little custom trees around, which I think look really nice. And then we have a small little beetroot field over here, mainly for decoration because I don't really use beetroot because it isn't like the best thing to sell to villagers. But this will be just something that the villagers can come and harvest. And then of course we have the market stall area over here, which I added some composters in a few of the stalls for the workers. I think out of all of the windmills and buildings, this one has to be my favorite. I think just the windmill with the house connected to it is a really nice touch, and I like the red terracotta that was used. Now that we have built up the whole village and it is done, all that we need are the villagers. And now the village is populated with farmer villagers. I brought a good amount over from that village over there. I left some, that way that village can continue to have villagers as well. But we've got a good amount of farmers. They all sell potatoes and carrots, which are probably some of the best trades to do for farmers, especially because we have this big carrot field over here and the big potato farm over there. But they've already even started populating the village with some baby villagers, so we will be getting even more farmers soon. But with that, the village is fully done and populated with some farmer villagers. I really love how this village turned out. I love all of the windmills and all of the crops around, and I love that the farmer villagers can just have fun harvesting all of the crops and trading it with one another. But now, since the village is finally complete, this is going to conclude this episode of Hardcore Minecraft. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!